During your life, everything you do and everyone you meet rubs off in some way. Some bit of everything you experience stays with everyone you've known, and nothing is lost. That's what's eternal, these little specks of experience in a great enormous river that has no end. Harriet Dorr. Doris Jacqueline Herring was born on March 12, 1932, amid the Great Depression in Attala, Mississippi, to her mother Annie Mae, briefly a teacher and then farmer's wife, age 25, and father Joseph Clyde, a farmer, age 32.
Their house on a rural farm in Kosciuszko, Mississippi was built by her father and his father and had 4 rooms where her parents and their 6 children lived. There was no electricity and no paint inside or outside, and the 6 children shared 2 beds. The corrugated tin roof created horrendous noise when it rained or hailed. You could see outside through cracks in the walls and floors in some places. Over time, they moved to a new 5-room home that had enough electricity to power 1 light and a refrigerator.
Doris went through all but 1 year of grade in high school at French Camp Academy, located near the Natchez Trace, about 90 miles north of Jackson, Mississippi. She was a good student, so much that she was allowed to skip her junior year of high school, where she graduated the second in her class. During her high school years, soon after her 14th birthday, Doris's mother tragically died during childbirth, forcing Doris to grow up in a hurry to help take on many of the household responsibilities.
Memphis was about 150 miles north of where Doris grew up and home to her mother's family. Doris's first exposure to Memphis was as a child when she was put on a long train ride to Memphis where her Uncle Jack picked her up. She spent summers with them until she was 12 years old. At age 18, Doris moved to Memphis with her first job as a clerk in the Sears mail order department before going on to nurses training.
She spent 3 years at St. Joseph's School of Nursing, where in her own words, she had a blast. The nurses would go to dances and parties whenever they could, including the USO at the Salvation Army Center, where they danced, played cards, or played ping pong with the service members there. One afternoon, Doris and a couple of her friends parked next to a car at a drive-in barbecue restaurant occupied by 3 servicemen. They started bantering back and forth, enjoying the chatter, when eventually someone suggested they trade passengers, and Doris wound up sitting next to a Marine. In her words, oh boy, was he cute. That man would become her husband. In 1954, Doris graduated from nurses training in Memphis, and later that year, at age 22, married Robert Louis Valentine in New Bern, North Carolina, near the base for his military training.
When Bob finished his time with the Marines, he moved Doris to his hometown of Waukegan, Illinois, where she became a nurse for the Tuberculosis Association, administering tests and chest x-rays at schools and businesses throughout Lake County. After a few years of being settled in as a Yankee, as her family would refer to her, Doris and Bob had their first child, Louis Robert, born in 1959. A few years later, her and Bob purchased their first home in Grandwood Park, just west of Gurnee, Illinois, a home Doris occupied for almost 30 years. In 1965, Doris gave birth to her second son, James Jonathan, and in 1970 to her daughter, Jacqueline Ann.
In 1966, Doris took on a full-time role as the school's nurse at Woodland School, where she went on to work for 24 years. In October 1975, Doris's marriage of 20 years ended due to Bob's uncontrollable alcoholism. Being a single mom led to some tough years. Because Bob provided minimal support, Doris was led to work 3 jobs. In addition to that, she decided to complete her college degree, so she started night school. And in 1977, she received her bachelor's degree.
Despite the lean times, Doris made a point to have fun with the kids, especially during her summers when she didn't have the responsibilities of being a school nurse. She would take the kids to Great America, the Wisconsin Dells, and an occasional trip to visit her family in Memphis. In the spare time she had, she enjoyed growing a vegetable garden and visiting with neighbors.
One of Doris's part-time jobs was a nurse at Condell Hospital in Libertyville, Illinois. During that time, she met a patient, Charles Dolph, who she would later marry in December 1979. Charlie was a loving husband and stepfather, providing the long-needed stability for the family. In 1990, Doris and Charlie retired from their jobs and, with the hopes of never shoveling a snowy driveway again, moved to a new home in Melbourne, Florida, where they played cribbage and became active members of the Lion Club and Mall Walkers.
Sadly, Charlie passed away in 1993, which left Doris wondering where to live, in warm Florida or near her children in Wisconsin. Doris's first son, Lou, and his wife, Heidi, gave birth to Doris's first grandchild, Stephen, in 1991. After mourning Charlie's death, Doris decided to move back north to be closer to her children and grandchildren in Wisconsin.
Over time, she would come to have 5 beautiful grandchildren. Even after the move back north, Doris continued her tireless efforts to help the Lions Club, periodically being recognized for her exceptional efforts. During this time, Doris also enjoyed her travels, with the 2 most notable to the Grand Canyon in 1994 and Hawaii in 2012.
After living 15 years in Pewaukee Condo in 2013, Doris moved to Avalon Square in downtown Waukesha to be close to her existing friends and to make new ones. In her words, "I love living on the main street within a couple blocks of many restaurants, shops, and other businesses." During her time there, she started a new program called Sharing Our Memories, where she led a group to talking about events in their life.
At age 90, Doris's memoir was published. A life worth living, from humble beginnings on a Mississippi farm to a fulfilling life, sharing more than 120 stories from her remarkable journey. Her voice was also preserved for the future generations through StoryCorp's interview, now archived in the Library of Congress, ensuring her wisdom and experiences would live on. Doris remained active and vibrant at Avalon Square, surrounded by dear friends and family, until she peacefully passed away on November 12, 2025, at the age of 93. Her legacy of resilience, service, and love continues to inspire all who knew her.